Sleepy Alpaca asked me, how do you get over the fear of starting a new project or starting to draw? I think I've talked about this before in a previous video about the anxiety I have before drawing, which just boils down to I have problems with anxiety and self-doubt because I worry that my art won't be good. I dread making mistakes and struggling with it. And in the end, forcing myself to sit down and do the work helps me get over that dread. Because I usually discover it's pretty unfounded and I just need to force myself to start, and then things kind of fall into place and I enjoy myself. Starting a project, that's a whole other beast. It's all the dread that I have before drawing, amplified. Because starting a new comic or a novel or whatever your project is, that's a huge commitment. Committing to all those hours of working on it, it's so daunting. It's gonna take up a big part of your life for a long time, probably. That is hard to stomach sometimes. I have buckets of books and comics that I want to work on and bring to life someday. There's comics I want to do with Bones that we want to make together. There's my own stuff that I want to make. And it's, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. Whenever I sit down and I'm I'm going to work on this project, a lot of the time, especially when it's new and I'm going to start it, I always think I can't do this. I suck. How am I supposed to take all these ideas that I have and make them into a satisfying story that people will like? How the heck do you do that? And then I run away and I hide and I cuddle my dog, because that fear is paralyzing. There are projects that I have that I'm still afraid to touch because I just don't feel skilled enough to do them yet. So I guess I'll start getting into what to do with all this self-doubt and dread when it comes to big projects. I've kind of dealt with it in the same way that I deal with the little anxiety I get before starting a drawing session. And a big part of it is looking into my life and my emotional state and is there anything else big and scary that's going on in my life that needs to be dealt with? Because am I having a big bout of anxiety and mental health issues? Is there a big scary thing happening at work right now? Is there something stressful and uncertain in my future right now? All those things contribute to your mindset going into your comic work. So make sure to when you are feeling so overwhelmed that you're afraid to start your project, maybe look at some of that stuff and deal with what you can. That'll help get rid of some of the barriers in your way. Another way to kind of get over that initial fear is to start with prep work going into your comic. You don't have to sit down today and draw the first page of your comic and have it come out perfect. Maybe spend a month working on character sheets and background designs and scripting and world building. Because all that prep work can change and no one has to see it. And it'll kind of prepare your fearful little hearts for all the big work that's going to come in the future. You'll start laying the foundations, one, of your story and the visuals of your story, but also laying down the foundation of I can do this. Look how great all this prep work is, and look how much work I have under my belt. This comic's gonna be way easier than I thought it was. It kind of gives you a trajectory, Another great way to get over that initial hiccup of fear is to foster that initial spark of passion you had for your project. So go find your best bud and gush about the project. And it has to be someone who will hype you up and push you to start and make you feel good about the project. Or take some time to relive the feelings or the scenes you imagined that got you excited about the project in the first place. Or explore the character that made you want to write this story, whatever it is. And bask in the excitement of that stuff. Sometimes I also will go and daydream about being a super cool, successful artist, because that's always fun. And it gets you really excited to work hard so that one day you'll get there and you'll be the cool guy. Do whatever it takes to get, your heart thrumming with excitement over this project. Doodle your characters being cute. That's okay. As long as it gets you hype. Because when you're excited, you can change all the nervous energy and turn it into excited energy. Another way to get yourself excited about the project is to force yourself to not work on the project. Which sounds counterintuitive, I know. But sometimes as a creator, you need to take a break, maybe consume some media, like sow the seeds of your creativity. You plant the seeds, and you gotta like foster them and take care of them. And not all of that is done through sitting at the table and drawing. The guilt of not drawing can really hinder your progress. So if you let yourself take a break, it could be a day, it could be a week, whatever, however long you need, but like set a time and say, I'm not going to work on art this week. I'm going to go on vacation and have fun with my family, or I'm going to go binge a bunch of anime and just not stress about this project, whatever you need to do. Just force yourself not to work on the project, focus on your other hobbies, focus on like your friends or your family or whatever you need to do, and don't feel guilty about not working on the project. You'll find when you force yourself not to work on the project, and especially I find when I'm like consuming media, like, reading a really good book or like watching a cool show or reading a great comic, and I'm not allowed to work on my comic for a little while, it really gets me excited and it starts like bringing up cool new ideas. Make sure to remind yourself always that you're a really cool, awesome artist and your story matters, and only you can tell it the way you want to tell it. You might have a story that has like a weird, crazy niche, but guess what? If you want that story in the world, someone else probably wants that story in the world too, and they're going to connect with it. So always make sure to take time to hype yourself up, make yourself feel good. Remember to compliment yourself and, tell that story you need to tell. And finally, sometimes it's okay to put aside a project that feels too daunting. Instead of working on this big, like, magnum opus story that you've been planning since you were 12, maybe work on something that's, like, a little bit smaller and easier to do right now. One that you're a little less attached to, that you don't mind making huge mistakes on. Do a 100-page comic instead of a 1,000-page comic when you start. Level up your skills until you're ready to face that big, important project that has, like, all the emotional stakes in it for you. 'Cause that's okay, too. Explore your options, I guess. And, like, you'll build that confidence so when you do finally hit this big, important project, you'll feel better. You'll feel more prepared and ready on your journey. I hope that answers your question. I hope that inspires you. And that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or if you'd like to request a video topic, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!